If you are a real estate investor and you're looking for money to fund your real estate deals, don't go anywhere because I'm getting ready to plug you into the money. Well, hello and welcome to another amazing episode of Real Estate Investing with Jay Conner. I'm Jay Conner, the Private Money Authority, and I have got a free gift for you here today, just for you listening to the episode. And that is, I just recently launched my new book, which is titled Where to Get the Money Now. And the subtitle is How and Where to Get Money for Your Real Estate Deals Without Relying on Traditional or Hard Money Lenders. And guess what? It hit number in the top 50 or so books on Amazon the day that I released it under real estate investing. And so listen, you can go to Amazon and pay $20 to get it, or I'll just ship it to you for free. Now, I am going to be totally transparent here. I am going to ask you for a couple of bucks to cover the shipping and handling, but this book lays out exactly how I was able to attract over $2 million in private money when I first started using private money back in 2009, and how you can duplicate the process as well. So you can go to www.jayconner.com/book, and we will get this book shipped right out to you. Again, that's www.jayconner.com/book, BOOK. Well, on this episode of Real Estate Investing with Jay Conner, I thought we'd do like a little something different on this show. And that is, I thought I would share with you how Carol Joy, my wife, and I actually started in the foreclosure business of locating foreclosures, helping and serving a lot of people, helping them out of financial distress all the way back to 2004. And so what I want to do is invite the executive producer of the show to come up here with me, and that is Scott Patton. So hello, Scott. Welcome to the show. Oh, you're on mute, Scott. There you go.
Jay, happy to be here. Hello, everybody. I'm excited. We're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics.
There you go. Well, and I tell you, Scott, I cannot think of a more ever since Carol Joy and I have been investing in real estate here in Eastern North Carolina, I cannot think of a time where using our foreclosure system is more timely. And of course, that's because of, we've been into COVID now for over a year, and foreclosures are getting ready to open up. So what better time for real estate investors or those that want to get into the business to prepare themselves in order to take advantage of this opportunity that's getting ready to open up to help a lot of people out of financial distress and make a lot of money while doing it at the same time.
Right. Well, and there's a lot of people who they haven't been paying their mortgage or they haven't been paying their rent for a long time. And it just seems like they keep pushing. It's like there's a big problem and nobody wants to deal with it. They keep saying it's going to be extended till the 31st, to the 30th, to the next 31st. But there's going to come a point where they can't do that anymore.
Yeah, exactly. So my prediction, well, first of all, before I give my prediction, there's two categories of foreclosures because of COVID. The first category is all those people, which was a good number, the foreclosure process had already started before COVID came along in March of 2020. And so COVID comes along, and now those foreclosures that were in the process were put on pause, and just the whole foreclosure process stopped. And then since COVID, all the millions of people that lost their jobs, they have stopped paying their mortgage payments as well because of COVID. So COVID has created this whole new great big category of people that have gone into foreclosure that ordinarily would not. So it's important for everybody to understand those are the two categories. Now to the prediction. I believe it's going to be in a very, very few short months before we really start to see what we call foreclosures opening up, the process opening up to where, as I said, we're going to have an opportunity to serve a whole lot of people. So, my prediction here is it's probably going to be opening up within the next 90 for sure, 90 days to 6 months for sure.
Right. So that would take us just before Christmas.
Correct.
And like, how do you prepare? Like, because to me, we've got this situation where we have low demand because a lot of people have said, hey, I'm not letting people come into my house and spread COVID, so I'm not selling my house, or I don't want to move anywhere. And then, of course, we've got people leaving condos and leaving cities, going into smaller areas. So I guess there's that's causing a lot of demand. So you have, a lot of demand, but not a lot of supply. So do you think when the foreclosures open up, we're going to see a massive supply hit the market?
Well, the thing of it is there's two different times to help these people out and make a lot of money while doing it. There's two really times in the process that you can buy a foreclosure. Number one is it has not gone to sale yet at the courthouse steps. All right, so they're behind on their payments. Either a summons or a notice of default has been delivered to the property by the deputy sheriff. Now there's this window of time, and that window of time varies by state. Here in North Carolina, there's about a 10 to 12 week window between when they actually have the notice of default served to the house or the summons until the sale takes place. So in mine and Carol Joy's foreclosure system, we are communicating with them during that process. They're behind on payments, but the house is not going to sale. So in the way that we do the business, in fact, when we get here to the end of the show, I'm going to give out a URL to where people can go actually watch my webinar in detail. It's only about 45 minutes to 50 minutes long, but I teach the 5 steps of our foreclosure system, of how you locate these people and et cetera. One big key is getting up with these people before other real estate investors even know about these potential deals. That's one big category. So if they are behind on payments, not if they're behind on payments, if the property is not going to sale yet, then the creative strategy on funding that deal is to buy the property subject to the existing note, which means that you'll have to bring the back payments current. But in my webinar training that I'm going to give the URL out for here in a few minutes, it goes into detail as to what subject to is and how you can actually buy it subject to. But in essence, what it means is you're agreeing to bring the payments current. Also in the webinar training, Scott, I'm going to teach how you can buy these properties without having to pull any money out of your own pocket in order to make this happen. So the seller, the person or couple that's in foreclosure, is agreeing to sell the property to you, the real estate investor, subject to the existing mortgage staying in their name, and you are agreeing to make those payments, right? And to keep them current until you sell it and cash out. Now, the other point in time to buy that foreclosure is if the opening bid was too high, or you weren't able to, you didn't buy it there, nobody else bought it. Well, now it's called going back to the bank, or bank owned properties, or REOs, which stands for real estate owned. Now, so most of the time, those properties, those foreclosures will be sold in the multiple listing service. So you want to use private money, all cash, to buy those houses. So in answer to your question, Scott, is there going to be a lot of inventory on the market? I don't believe it's going to be as large as what happened back in 2007, 2008, and 2009, but it is going to be a huge amount. So your average buyer, most buyers, are typically not going to want to buy a bank-owned property because number one, typically it's going to need some type of repairs, and right. Your average buyer in the multiple listing service is typically not going to want to buy a house that's going to need repairs. So there's going to be a big opportunity coming right around the corner for real estate investors to either buy them bank owned or to buy them directly from the people. And again, my foreclosure system teaches everything from beginning to end of how to locate these people before the property goes to sale, and also how to get up with these people before other real estate investors know about them.
Right. And it's important that we get to them before they go through foreclosure, because if they go through foreclosure, they've pretty much screwed up their credit rating for the next 10 years.
Exactly. And if we buy it from them and we're making the payments for them until we, cash or sell it out, number one, that keeps a foreclosure off of their record. And secondly, as long as we are owning that house, we're actually now helping build their credit back up.
Right.
As like a bonus to them, because we're obviously going to be making their payments on time. Scott, in the system, there's really our foreclosure system that we've been improving and using, and it's proven since 2004, is there's really two main parts to it that make it work. Number one is how we locate these files, get up with these people, and we maintain the list. So first is like get the list and maintain the list. And so that's the tracking. That's the tracking of every open foreclosure file in our market. The other part to it is how do we communicate with these people? And that is, I've got a set of 8 letters that get a crazy, very, very high response rate. And it's because of the tracking and the letters that we mail sequentially to these people that we're able to communicate with them again ahead of the other real estate investors.
Yeah, that's really important, because you can't just knock on the door and say, I heard you're going into foreclosure. I want to buy your house at a deep discount.
If you're, we call it door knocking. So if you are going to knock on doors, you for sure need to know what to say and how to say it, for sure.
Right. Well, that must be somebody calling about wanting you to get them out of foreclosure.
Yeah, I forgot to unplug my phone. But as I mentioned on the as when we were beginning the conversation, this whole mindset and this whole way of doing business has got nothing to do with taking advantage of people. I mean, we really are bringing a solution to these people, and a lot of them are in denial and just hoping and praying that this problem's going to go away. Well, you
Yes.
actually, by using my foreclosure system, actually have a very, very important way and meaningful way to help these people out of distress. And I tell you, our average profits on these deals are over $60,000. So, for those that haven't been tuning into the show, Carol, Joy, and I and our team, we're in a very, very small market here in Eastern North Carolina. Our total market is only 40,000 people, and but we do 2 to 3 deals a month, averaging over $60,000. Well, that's getting ready to change pretty quickly because of this avalanche of foreclosures that's getting ready to come about. Oh, you're on mute, Scott.
Sorry about
There you
that.
go.
One of the
There you
things that occurs to me too, we've been working together for a number of years now, and I think one of the things that people don't really think about is you're buying a house that is distressed, not just because it's going into foreclosure, but usually because the people, if they can't pay the mortgage, they certainly can't pay to get the heating fixed or the roof fixed or the painting done, or make it, not saying that major things necessarily have to be done, but places get a bit run down, and sometimes you can just spruce it up, give it a little facelift, and all of a sudden what was a dumpy house becomes a beautiful home, a little bit of landscaping and that sort of stuff. And that's one of the things that really amazes me about what you do, right? Is you go in, this is kind of the value of the house, and you have a way of working through that so that they understand why that's the number. And then when you go and do the rehab and the landscaping and the painting and the showing of the house, all of a sudden, it's kind of like you take the ugly duckling into a swan.
Exactly. And I'll tell you what, Scott, why don't we just go ahead and give out and post the URL in case somebody has to jump off early. I don't want them to miss out. I've got this free training, this free webinar that goes into the detail of how Carol Joy and my team actually use the foreclosure system and how it works through the process. So that URL that you can go register for the free webinar is www.jayconner.com/foreclosure webinar. That's all spelled out. So jayconner, jayconner.com/foreclosure webinar. That's spelled FORECLOSURE, the word foreclosure, and then still the same word, webinar, WEBINAR. So that's great, Scott. I wanted to get that out in case anybody had to jump off early. They got that URL and they can go get that webinar training.
Right. I was just looking at a chart of foreclosures over the last 10 or 12 years, Jay, and in 2009 and 10, it hit about 2.2%.
Right.
And last year it was 0.1.
You mean as far as the number of foreclosures that actually went to sale or finished the foreclosure process?
No, like, because they kept stopping, like the courts were closed. They kept saying, we're going to extend the foreclosures, and that's why anything happened.
Exactly. Well, Scott, I think that's the overview of the foreclosure, the way that we do the business. Any other question come to mind before we have this episode a wrap?
The only question I can think of, Jay, is how can people prepare for what's about to come?
Yeah.
So if you're a real estate investor, like what would...
Yeah, that's a good question. So how should a real estate investor prepare? Well, first of all, you're going to need to know exactly how the foreclosure process works in your state. Now, my foreclosure system works in any state. The letters work in any state. How closely you mail them together will vary from state to state. And the tracking that we do and how we get up with these people before other real estate investors even know about these opportunities to serve, that works in every state. But the timeline differs state to state. Now, what I did when I was preparing myself to enter into the foreclosure business is I hired my local real estate attorney, sat down with my real estate attorney, and I said, look, assume I don't know anything about the foreclosure process in the state of North Carolina, which was pretty much the truth. I didn't know that much about it. And I said, walk me through the entire process. So I'm going to encourage anybody that's interested in the foreclosure business and doing it the way we do it. You want to do that. You want to hire your, your real estate attorney to walk you through the process step by step. I mean, for example, one big mistake that new real estate investors make is there might be a bid at the courthouse on this property, and it would be like super, super low. Well, you never want to place any kind of bid on a property or buy a property, even from someone that's in foreclosure, until you have had a title search done by your closing agent, your real estate attorney, and make sure that you are buying the first mortgage and not a second mortgage. Because guess what? If you're the winning bidder, or you're buying the home and taking over payments from a seller and it's a second mortgage, guess what? You just inherited the first mortgage. And so that's a great big mistake that that everybody should be aware of and avoid. So that's the first thing I'm preparing. Along with that is, I say, plug into doing the foreclosure business the way Carol Joy and I do it. How do you prepare? Well, first thing, just go watch the webinar and the training at the jayconner.com/foreclosure webinar. Go watch that webinar, and then any kind of questions, there'll be a way for you to reach back out to us. On the webinar, you'll learn about how you can get the letters, use the letters, the whole tracking process. So the first thing to do, prepare, is to get educated, right? And get educated by the right person. And again, we've been doing it nonstop since 2004. Even though there's been a stay over the past year on foreclosures. We still track them. I mean, a new foreclosure will come onto record, but it won't go through the process. So we've stayed on top of it by still tracking every foreclosure, even though they've got it on pause. So how do you prepare? Get educated. Also learn about private money, because you'll need private money if you buy it as a bank owned. So again, get my book, jconnor.com/book, and we'll ship that book out to you as well. So yeah, get educated. Awesome. Get educated, Scott. Get educated.
Get educated. Get prepared. Read the book. Take the webinar, and we have a live event coming up in a month or two.
Yes, I mean it's right around the corner. The next one is June 23rd, 24th, and 25th. Yes. Right here in Eastern North Carolina. So that's coming right around the corner as well.
Yeah, so that's a big way to get educated. Rub shoulders with Jay and learn everything. I mean, the event is amazing. You'll learn everything there as well.
Awesome. Well, Scott, thank you so much for joining me on this episode. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Look forward to coming on again and again.
All right, sounds good. Well, there you have it, folks. This wraps up another episode of Real Estate Investing with Jay Connor. I'm Jay Connor, your host and the Private Money Authority. Here's wishing you all the best and to taking your real estate investing business to the next level. I'll see you on the next show.